Bugle Song. Splendor falls on castle walls, the snowy summits old in story. The long light shakes across the lakes, and the wild cataract leaps in glory. Blow, bugle, blow, set the wild echoes flying. Blow, bugle, answer, echoes, dying, dying, dying. Oh hark, oh hear, how thin and clear and thinner, clearer, farther going. Oh sweet and far from cliff and scar the horns of Elfland faintly blowing. Blow, let us hear the purple glens replying. Blow, bugle, answer, echoes, dying, dying, dying. O love, they die in yon rich sky, they faint on hill or field or river. Our echoes roll from soul to soul, and grow forever and forever. Blow, bugle, blow, set the wild echoes flying, and answer, echoes, answer, dying, dying, dying. Inevitably. Oh yeah. In the vast enterprise of war, we have found no obvious use for the liberally educated, except in the services of public information and propaganda. Powerful forces. What were those? Patriotism? I don't think it was money. More and more, we will be forced to think about the meaning of life. We stand at the threshold of an intellectual and moral renaissance. Shall we find we can adapt ourselves to this new order of civilization without liberal education? As little as we can adapt ourselves to the new technology without adequate training. That actually has become totally untrue. Technology adapts ourselves to our total lack of training. A liberal education will preserve our souls against the confusion, the negativism that harass the untrained in the face of revolutionary changes. The educator will need to rethink his whole system of educational values. Classic articulation there. Yes. Curious. I believe this is Theodorus. He considered joy and grief as the chief goods, and that the former resulted from knowledge and the latter from ignorance. And he called prudence and justice goods, the contrary qualities evil, and pleasure and pain something intermediate. He discarded friendship from his system, because it could not exist either in foolish men or in wise men. For that, in the case of the former, friendship was at an end the moment that the advantage to be derived from it was out of sight, and that wise men were sufficient for themselves, and so had no need of friends. He used also to say that it was reasonable for a good man not to expose himself to danger for the sake of his country, or that he ought not to discard his own prudence for the sake of benefiting those who had none. And he said that a wise man's country was the world. He allowed that a wise man might steal and commit adultery and sacrilege at proper seasons, for that none of these actions were disgraceful by nature, if one only put out of sight the common opinion about them, which owes its existence to the consent of fools. He said that the wise man would indulge his passions openly, without any regard to circumstances. On which principle he used to ask the following questions. Is a woman who is well instructed in literature of use just in proportion to the amount of her literary knowledge? Yes, the person questioned. And is a boy, and is a youth, useful in proportion to his acquaintance with literature? Yes. that was the yes. Is it not then also a beautiful woman, useful in proportion as she is beautiful? And a boy and a youth, useful in proportion to their beauty? Yes. Well then, a handsome boy and a handsome youth must be useful exactly in proportion as they are handsome? Yes. Now the use of beauty is to be embraced. And when this was granted, he pressed the argument thus. If then a man embraces a woman just as it is useful that he should, he does not do wrong. Nor again will he be doing wrong in employing beauty for the purposes for which it is useful. And with such questions as these, he appeared to convince his hearers. Hmm. This is younger. Was the first of the pupils of Socrates who exacted money from his pupils and who sent money to his master. Socrates sent them back, saying his daemon would not allow him to accept them, for in fact he was indignant at having them offered to him. He was in greater favor with Dionysius than any of the others, as he always made the best of existing circumstances. For he enjoyed what was before him pleasantly, and he did not toil to procure himself the enjoyment of what was not present. On which account Diogenes used to call him the king's dog. And Timon used to snarl at him as too luxurious, speaking somewhat in this fashion. Like the effeminate mind of Aristippus, who, as he said, by touch could judge of falsehood. They say that he once ordered a partridge to be brought for him at the price of 50 drachmas. And when someone blamed him, "And would not you," said he, "have bought it if it had cost an obol?" And when he said he would, "Well," replied Aristippus, 50 drachmas are no more to me." Dionysius once bade him select which he pleased of 3 beautiful courtesans, and he carried off all 3, saying that even Paris did not get any good by preferring one beauty to the rest. However, they say that when he had carried them as far as the vestibule, he dismissed them. So easily inclined was he to select or to disregard things. On which account Strato, or as others will have it, Plato, said to him, "You are the only man to whom it is given to wear both a cloak and rags." Once when Dionysius spit at him, he put up with it. And when someone found fault with him, he said, "Men endure being wetted by the sea in order to catch a tench. And shall I not endure to be sprinkled with wine to catch a sturgeon?" Once Diogenes, who was washing vegetables, ridiculed him as he passed and said, "If you had learned to eat these vegetables, you would not have been a slave in the palace of a tyrant." But Aristippus replied, "And you, if you had known how to behave among men, would not have been washing vegetables." Being asked what advantage he had derived from philosophy, he said, "The power of associating confidently with every body." When he was reproached for living extravagantly, he replied, "If extravagance had been a fault, it would not have had a place at the festivals of the gods." That's a good answer. At another time, he was asked what advantage philosophers had over other men, and he replied, "If all the laws should be abrogated, we should still live in the same manner as we do now." Once, when Dionysius asked him why the philosophers haunt the doors of the rich, but the rich do not frequent those of the philosophers, he said, "Because the first know what they want, but the second do not." On one occasion, he was reproached by Plato for living in an expensive way, and he replied, "Does not Dionysius seem to you to be a good man?" And as he said that he did, "And yet," said he lives in a more expensive manner than I do, so that there is no impossibility in a person's living both expensively and well at the same time." He was asked once, "In what educated men are superior to uneducated men?" and answered, "Just as broken horses are superior to those that are unbroken." On another occasion, he was going into the house of a courtesan. When one of the young men who were with him blushed, he said, "It is not the going into such a house that is bad, but the not being able to go out." Once a man proposed a riddle to him, and said, "Solve it." "Why, you silly fellow," said Aristippus, "do you wish me to loose what gives us trouble, even while it is in bonds?" Saying of his was that it was better to be a beggar than an ignorant person, or that a beggar only wants money, but an ignorant person wants humanity. I wonder what word humanity is. See if we can dig up Aristippus. is very nicely laid out at the Perseus project. That's why this all crap. I gotta lock those bad boys. Here we are. Socrates. Oh, it's all the way over here. Someone bought him a ein gigma tinos auto protenantos kai epontos. Someone brought him a knotty problem with the request that he untie the knot. Luson ti homatae efe. Lusai theles o kai dedemenon hemin pragmata pareke? Okay. Aminon efe epaiten e apaidiuton enai. Hoimen gar crematon, rich person. Hoi dantropismu deontai. That might be it. Yeah. So hoimen gar crematon. Better to be it is better to be anthropismu deontai.